Chapter 3 is about the potential of science and its compatibility with art. Much was said about science in Chapter 2, mostly in the context of art-related problem solving. In Chapter 3, the context shifts slightly towards science as a tool for fact-finding, whether or not those facts are used to solve art-related problems. But the emphasis is still on the kinds of facts that can influence artistic endeavors. Both art and science seek to convince. How convincible a person is might change with their attitude, and how open-minded they are. But open-minded doesn't necessarily mean gullible. Most people would like to consider themselves to be open-minded. You never hear a person bragging about being close-minded. I believe our degree of open-mindedness changes with our changes in attitudes. It's a balancing act between credulity and skepticism. It can shift within the same mind and within the same scientific process. Like a fulcrum, extreme open-mindedness is at the extreme center, not at either extreme end, of a belief spectrum. As we move out towards the ends, we have theorizing on one end and research on the other. I put the labels of these two outward points below the line because they are not attitudes. They are practices that work best with more outward attitudes. A little credulity makes it easier to imagine what is possible when theorizing. A little of its opposite, skepticism, keeps you honest when researching. These are mild attitudes, not extreme ends of the spectrum. The attitudes at the extreme ends are delusion and, its opposite, denial. To contrast the difference between the mild and the extreme attitudes, we need to add a vertical dimension to this spectrum. All evidence is generated between theorizing and research. There's upward supporting evidence working for groups of theories that converge on a prevailing theory. Most refer to it as proof, but pure science is never certain in this direction. However, in the opposite direction, pure science can be certain that with enough contrary evidence provided through research, a theory can be falsified. It's generally easier to falsify a theory than to prove a theory. This is where the mild attitudes are distinguished from the practices and contrasted between the extremes. Skepticism lacks contrary evidence. On the opposite end, credulity lacks supporting evidence. If evidence were sufficient in either case, it wouldn't be an attitude. It would be a mere recognition of the facts. On the extreme end, delusion ignores contrary evidence and falsification. The milder attitude credulity would at least acknowledge when contrary evidence is sufficient enough to falsify a theory. Likewise, denial, the extreme opposite of delusion, ignores supporting evidence and what even skeptics would call proof. Open-mindedness doesn't have the cognitive bias that would lead to either extreme. And that's Figure 35. It's the beginning of understanding the discipline of science, starting with the attitudes towards belief and how those attitudes affect the practice. A few of the figures in Chapter 3 will be skipped for the same reason previous figures were skipped. I hope you are looking forward to the ones worth including. Please leave critical feedback in the comments. Thanks for watching.